and doors for general admission open at 7 p.m. Sponsorship opportunities are available for a private reception and dinner with the speakers prior to the program. Purchase a silver sponsorship to savor wine and hors d'oeuvres, or a gold sponsorship to enjoy wine and dinner with Anna and Van. Sponsorships start at just $500. Tuesday, May 21st is approaching quickly, and the event is selling out fast. Call and secure your seats today at 612-374-0342. Visit templeisrael.com/benefit for more information.
Robbins Kaplan LLP protects and defends American Indian tribes because for too long they have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan LLP seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country. Founded and led by former United States attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian law and policy practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. Their American Indian law lawyers understand the challenges tribes face when state and local government infringe on tribal sovereignty and the federal government neglects its trust responsibilities. Their passion for tribal sovereignty and self-determination is the driving force behind their practice, fueling their tribal advice and advocacy, especially when tribes are forced to litigate against powerful interests. Robbins Kaplan LLP, representing American Indian tribes, tribal government boards and commissions, individual tribal members, and American Indian business and business concerns. For more information, visit robinskaplan.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Sam Turnberg. Today we have a chance of drizzle with a high near 50. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms with a low around 42. Tomorrow, showers with a high near 42. Monday, sunny with a high near 62. And Tuesday, cloudy with a high near 58. 80% of homes in the market need help with air sealing and insulation. Green Home Doctor will work with you to make your home less leaky and more comfortable in the summer. They can help you get energy rebates from Excel and Centerpoint, and they don't use subcontractors. Visit them at greenhomedr.com.
This hour is supported by Robbins Kaplan LLP, dedicated to redefining excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country.
We went to all the powwows when we were young. At that time, children could not dance. Only people over 50 years of age could dance. Most people do not know this, that the government forbid children to dance Indian. And that was so they could wipe out the culture of the young people, and then finally the new generation would never know what happened.
I'm a member of the American Indian movement, and I'm from the indigenous nations of the Western Hemisphere.
We American Indians, we can be anything we want to be, except American Indians.
You were here long before any of us were here.
Bonjour, everybody. My name is Peggy Flanagan. I'm from the White Earth Nation, and my family's the Wolf Clan.
There was trouble in Custer, South Dakota yesterday.
That the American Indian movement is a very proud, continuing part of American Indian society. I thank you.
But what I tell you is that we are not backing down. We're here, we'll stand here, because we have been here for 10,000 years. We're the home team, and we're not going anywhere. We're rich.
Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Ahu Hochankraja, Wakunjahade Hingadena. Welcome, Winona. Thank you again for being on.
Oh, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Ahu. What you got for us this week? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I've been wandering around the world, Indian country. I've been from northern Minnesota to Calgary to, Piikani territory to, all down the west, Ohlone territory, Dene territory, and there's good things going on out there, and I just want to share a little bit. This is my little story called Shine Some Light. I wrote this just a little bit ago, but it kind of has 2 scenes. So scene 1, 8 Fire Solar launch, straight out of Ponsford. That's right. 2 weeks ago, 8 Fire Solar launched its solar thermal manufacturing facility right out of Ponsford, White Earth Reservation. Nick Bellrock, John Martin, Eric Fasthorse, and Ronnie Chilton brought online the first solar thermal panel called the Solstice. That was a couple of weeks ago. The Solstice is an SRCC certified solar heating system that can reduce the heating bills in a house by about 20%. keeping it warm. Now, since we spend about a third of our money in Minnesota in our territory here heating our houses in the winter, this is kind of a no-brainer, really. Now, so here's how it works. These solar furnaces. You mount it on the building's south side, and the panels collect the sun's heat inside the insulated black glass panels. A thermostatically controlled fan blows the collected air heat into the house, the shop, or your greenhouse even during the day, and automatically closes the dampers to keep it cold at night, to keep the cold out at night or when the sun isn't shining. A state-of-the-art system creates airtight, seamless connections. Now, doesn't that sound groovy? Yeah. The airflow and design and modularity allow for uniform air distribution, flexible installation, and maximum heat capture. Really, it's actually pretty simple technology. Just got a lot of fancy words in there, but you get the stuff warm and then you blow it in the house. That's how that stuff works. So, 8 Fire solar panels came out after about 2 years of planning and hard work, and a technology transfer agreement with the Rural Renewable Energy Alliance. Those guys created the technology and successfully installed them for a decade, working all across the country with dealerships. Honor the Earth, we have our headquarters on the White Earth Reservation. We raised the money to purchase their technology and launch the new enterprise. We call this enterprise 8 Fire Solar. We got some support from the Northwest Area Foundation and Otto Bremer Foundation and some really cool people nationally who see the need for solar in the North Country. It was a really, really big project for Honor the Earth, moving us into the Green New Deal, into the next economy, because we've been thinking about this for a while, because we don't want to be cold and pay money to fossil fuel companies. So if you're interested in this, you can go to info at 8 Fire Solar, and that 8th is the number 8, 8firesolar.org. Now, Pam Mailing, she's a special projects director for Honor the Earth, and this is really her project she's working on. She says, we're trying to build a local and sustainable economy. Built to withstand even the coldest climates, the solar collectors have the best BTU per dollar ratio on the market. That's what you want. The BTUs, they got to be high. The price per panel is going to vary according to the installation because everybody's house is really different. But one thing is certain, it's going to be cold in the winter in Minnesota. There's some variables on some things, but we know that as a fact. In fact, it's going to be cold each winter in much of the North Country. 8 Fire Solar wants to sell these panels not only to the U.S., but also to Canadian markets. We got some good trade ideas for Canada. And by and large, we've heard that Canada's pretty cold. Now, take, for instance, Piikani territory or Blackfoot territory. That's spanning from Montana to Alberta. And these are some of the largest reserves in Canada and in the U.S. with about 5,000 homes, and most of them are on the prairie. It's ironic that despite Alberta's oil boom, people are still cold in the winter. That's really tragic. This may be the answer. Solar, not fossil fuels. Okay, now here's scene 2. This is May 8th. All right, this is my travel from last week. So it's a warm wind blowing into Calgary today. A pleasant spring, a breeze, and fresh. It's Blackfeet or Piikani territory. Tomorrow, that'd be the 9th, it was expected to be warm and the rest of the week warmer. That weather should be in Minnesota in about 3 days. That's why they call them Alberta Clippers. That's also how long the blizzard took to get from Calgary to Minnesota that hit last week. That's also how long it'll be about to take a barrel of oil to get from Minnesota from Alberta, the Houston of the North. The May 7th blizzard set a record in Minnesota for the largest snowfall in May and did the same in Calgary 3 days earlier. With climate change, that's a certain. It will be cold, it will be hot, and it will be unpredictable. So it's also unpredictable when you get into tar sands. The Alberta tar sands, the Canadian tar sands are failing. That's the fact. The international oil market adds uncertainty to the future of Canada's tar sands, and the lack of pipelines pushes it further. It may be time for Canada to actually come up with a plan B. Canada's tar sands cannot compete with cheap oil from elsewhere, nor can they get it to market. And despite fantasies of selling oil to Chinese markets, it seems that China's moving rapidly into electric cars. So this past week, 2 Native women stood in the midst of screaming tar sands workers out of jobs, hoping for a new oil boom in Alberta. That was at the Enbridge shareholders meeting on May 8th. Well, that's come and gone. And in the meantime, $25 billion has been invested in Canada's clean energy sector in the past 5 years. And employment is up 37%. That's according to a new report from climate think tank Clean Energy Canada. The 23,700 people who work in the green energy economy of Canada outnumber the 22,340 people whose work relates to the oil sands. Alberta, or Piikani Territory, has the second most solar potential of any province in Canada, following Saskatchewan. As the tar sands industry panics in the face of divestment and cheaper oil everywhere in the world, it's time to go solar. This is the fact. The Canadian oil, to get it out of the ground, is at $82 a barrel. The oil that is coming out of the Middle East and the fracking zones in the Permian is coming in at $45 a barrel. Who the hell in the world would want to go spend that much to get some oil out of the Canadian tar sands, where anyone else in the world you can get oil for much cheaper? That's why Canada's losing investments. And I'm going to tell you what, it's not going to get any better. So how about this? You know, as the tar sands industry panics and begins to implode, how about the people from Alberta take a note from the people of White Earth? It's really time to go solar. After all, once installed, you can project the price of the future fuel in solar, and the price of fuel in the future is zero. Don't get stressed out. The name Eighth Fire Solar comes from the Anishinaabe prophecies. This is what we think. We have a choice on this path we are on, the seventh fire, between a well-worn scorched path and one that's green. If we choose the green path, we will light the eighth fire. It will be lit and a better future is going to be formed. I tell you what, Alberta, you quit sending us tar sands, and we may help you all be able to make a sustainable energy economy with future in the solar. Honestly, spring's here. Time for a renaissance, time for solar. So for more information on our solar project, contact us at info@eightfiresolar.org, and it's the number 8. Hey, thanks for letting me talk about our solar and what it was like being screamed at the Enbridge shareholders meeting.
Oh, Pinigiki, Winona. Say, could you bring up also, and thank you so much for that information. It's very inspiring, and we also need to hear this on a daily on what's happening. Hey, can you also talk a little bit about the big Winona happenings in Winona, Minnesota?
Yeah. So I'm holding a big party. Well, you know, I think a lot of Winonas will be, but I'm inviting women named Winona. You know, a lot of Native women are named Winona, and a lot of non-Native women like Winona Ryder. She's named Winona, and there's that Winona Judge. She's a little bit different. But I'm inviting them all to go party in Winona because that's really our city. We've got a statue there. We've got a Princess Winona. We've got the whole town. Our name is really big. Nice city, you know. Nice city. And particularly the Dakota sisters. Please come. But anyway, you know, one of the things we're doing is we're having an art show. We got a really great gallery down there. And so the call for art is out. And I just want to make sure that people get the word, you know, and they can, you know, send us some of the art at the Winona All Call, because we would like to see submissions on the subject of Winona. You know, it could be the Winona of the Anishinaabe, the Winona of the Dakotas, you know, however we want to interpret first daughter,
Right.
first daughter. So encouraging people to send that in, and that's at Winona All Call.
Wow, that's great. We'll put that up on our Facebook page. You know, you've been listening.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, this has been Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth and many other things, and keep up the hemp and everything that's going to make our planet green again. Thank you so much for what you do for our people and getting the word out there. You've been listening.
Hey, thanks for having me, and we're all in this together. We all do our little part, you know. So thank you for doing your part, and have a good week, okay?
Pinigigi. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back with Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The Neighborhood Cafe is a locally owned and operated business and proud sponsor of I'm Awake. Enjoy a great happy hour Tuesday through Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. with specials on food and drinks. The Neighborhood Cafe serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all made from scratch daily. Located next to O'Gara's in St. Paul off Snelling and Selby, stop in and try one of their specialty sandwiches or delicious burgers paired with a local craft beer. More at theneighborhoodcafe.com.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Native-owned Meg Mechanical is your local heating, ventilation, and air conditioning professional. Meg has the experience needed to diagnose and repair your heating and air conditioning systems. Whether repair or complete mechanical design, we do it all. No job is too big or too small. Meg Mechanical has completed projects as large as U.S. Bank Stadium and will provide the same great service in your home. Visit magmechanical.com or call 612-655-5339. Please remember Mag Mechanical when you have HVAC needs. Mention this ad to receive 1 hour of free service.
The Downtowner Woodfire Grill in St. Paul is the perfect choice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Offering daily fresh seafood specials, fire-roasted meats, exquisite pizza, and half-price bottles of wine on Mondays and Tuesdays, except on Excel Energy event nights. Once you experience their cozy fireside dining, extensive wine list, and bar, you'll be back for more. Gift certificates and private dining room for parties available. Located at 253 West 7th Street with plenty of free parking or online at downtownerwoodfire.com.
When we go out to browse for books and grab something to eat, Moon Palace Books is where we go.
This unique bookstore is located at 3032 Minnehaha Avenue in Minneapolis, just minutes from St. Paul.
A great place to find one-of-a-kind books, cards, and great gifts.
Geek Glove Cafe at Moon Palace Books has cold-pressed coffee, pizza, salads.
Local, organic, fair trade, vegan, carnivore options.
Beer and wine.
Community and performance room.
Great parking.
What are we waiting for? Let's go
to Moon Palace Books, 3032 Minnehaha Avenue, Minneapolis.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm Wakanja Hade, and this portion is brought to you by Moon Palace. Hey, we love having Mary Kunesh-Podein on, and she's going to be on twice today, and she's going to be talking to North Dakota House Representative Ruth Buffalo in the next segment. But here's her weekly update. Pinigigi, Mary Kunesh-Podein.
Hi, everyone. It's State Representative Mary Kunesh-Podein on May 17th, 2019, and I'm over here at the Capitol. We've been waiting all day to get information back from the Senate so that we can vote on it. It might be a long, late night. We're expecting to be here pretty much all of the weekend, trying to finish up on any work that we might have, but we're not expecting to finish on Monday, which is our final day, and we have to end by midnight on Monday by our Constitution. I'm not convinced that we will, and so we'll end our session and probably come back for a special session later on in June. But we're going to keep working hard and trying to get done what we can get done. Some really exciting news this week as far as Indian country goes. Today I presented a bill to the House and it passed very soundly. It's a bill to remove the requirement that federally recognized tribes in Minnesota need the constant and consent from their local county sheriffs in order for their police departments to enforce the state laws on reservations. Some years ago when our tribal police wanted to create their own police programs on the reservations, it was decided by the legislature that they needed the oversight of the county sheriffs. And that continues to this day. Most everywhere it seems that there is a good partnership with the counties, but in some certain instances, such as what happened in Mille Lacs a couple years ago, that collaborative effort is more of a hindrance. And so the tribes have asked to have that removed, and Prairie Island brought the bill to me and asked me to carry it. And the hope was that all of the tribes would be able to be covered under this bill, where that necessity would end. But unfortunately, the Republican Party decided that they weren't comfortable with all of the tribes being untethered from the county and agreed to just Prairie Island at this time. And so that finally passed. I know that the Republicans caucused on it a lot for quite some time and discussed it. There were still a handful of Republicans that didn't vote for it, and I'm just really glad that we were able to pass this law. Even though it's specific to Prairie Island, we are hoping to be able to extend that and expand it to all of the tribes over the next couple of years, because it's really important that we have laws that are going to start strengthening the safety and the security of our Indian communities. And I'm very grateful to my colleagues on my side that supported this 100% right from the start, and those across the aisle that supported the bill. So we'll keep working on that tribal police autonomy. The other exciting thing is this week on Tuesday, I presented a House resolution to raise the awareness of endangered languages, because this year is the year of the International Year of Indigenous Languages. And I don't know how many of you know this, but of the world's 6,700 languages, 40% of them are in danger of disappearing. And of course, as we know historically, the majority of those languages belong to our Indigenous people. So I presented a House resolution this week recognizing 2019 as the International Year of Indigenous Languages. And then the resolution also went on to resolve that the House of Representatives of the state of Minnesota commemorates 2019 as the Year of Indigenous Languages. And that is also that they are acknowledging that the Dakota and the Ojibwe languages are also the indigenous languages of Minnesota. So those were the exciting things that happened here at the legislature. We've been working hard to ensure that we've got good schools and good health care plans. This past Saturday night, I met Robert at the Worldwide Wrestling event that was a fundraiser for WON, Women of Nations. They're a great program that provides support for women who are trying to get out of violent situations. Ruth Anna Buffalo was there. We had a great time with her. She's our newest legislator up in North Dakota, doing a smashing job of it. And then I was lucky enough to be able to get into the ring and present the trophy to Desirita, who came all the way from California. She's a Native woman who is active in Worldwide Wrestling, and she, of course, trumped her two competitors. So those are some of the fun things that I get to do as a state legislator. Most of the time it's pretty good. But that's it for me for this week. It's been a lot of fun dealing with all of these issues, and I'm hoping that we'll get some more work done this weekend and then be back in June to finish up. So have a great weekend, everybody. Chimigwish.
Hey, that was Mary Kunesh-Podein, and we're gonna do an interview she did for us at Native Roots Radio up next with Ruth Buffalo, State House person in North Dakota, Native American. We'll be right back.
J. Selby's, an airy plant-based cafe serving up American classics, nestled in the heart of St. Paul in the historic Cathedral Hill neighborhood at 169 Victoria Street. J. Selby's serves great plant-based food and only plant-based foods where customer service is a priority, great food a tradition, and a comfortable, cool space for like-minded people to gather and enjoy a sustainable, environmentally friendly, and compassionate meal. As the Star Tribune writes, J. Selby's is an innovative vegan restaurant that does a spot-on Big Mac. It's a good day for good food.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
MN350 is a grassroots, volunteer-driven organization fighting for climate justice and a swift transition away from a fossil fuel-based economy. To get involved, visit mn350.org or find us on Facebook at MN350. Building a climate movement in Minnesota.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, wherever you are and however you like it. We're just the place you're looking for. 6 unique, fun, exciting, winning destinations located throughout central Wisconsin. Make your rounds to Wittenberg, Nakusa, Black River Falls, Toma, Madison, or Wisconsin Dells for the hottest slots, most exciting games, award-winning guest service, delicious food and spirits, lodging, and live entertainment. Join the Ho-Chunk Gaming Rewards Club for free. And with a single card, you can earn valuable points no matter which of the 6 locations you choose to play. That means more exclusive offers, giveaways, cash back, discounts, and much more. Visit us online to see all we have to offer and find the fun times nearest you at HoChunkGaming.com. So wherever you are and however you like it, we're just the place you're looking for. Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, Wittenberg, Nakusa, Black River Falls, Toma, Madison, and Wisconsin Dells.
Experience the difference. Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin.
Must be 21 or over to play.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Sam Turnberg. Today we have a chance of drizzle with a high near 50. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms with a low around 42. Tomorrow, showers with a high near 42. Monday, sunny with a high near 62. And Tuesday, cloudy with a high near 58. The Eat Local Minnesota Restaurant of the Week is The Great Wall. The Great Wall has been providing a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, stop by their Edina location or call for takeout. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hey everybody, it's State Representative Mary Kunesh-Podein. I'm here with Ruth Ann Buffalo. She's the newest legislator from North Dakota. She just had finished her first session at the legislature, and we're both here at Sibling High School because we got invited to the Women of Nations wrestling event. It's been a pretty interesting evening, but Ruth, would you like to introduce yourself and say a few things about what the legislature was like for you in North Dakota?
Sure. Niroshadzi nakbaga o madashi mia adeshed smabe sigid smadzigidad nakbaga o. My name's Ruth Anna Buffalo, and I carry my late grandmother Ruth's Hidadza name Woman Appears. I'm originally from Mandaree. I grew up on the Fort Berthold Reservation, and I currently serve District 27 in South Fargo. I introduced 8 pieces of legislation, and 7 of those pieces of legislation passed. And that includes a resolution urging Congress to pass Savannah's Act, a study resolution digging deeper into the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous people and human trafficking cases, and then a bill that would prohibit schools and school districts and school boards from it would not allow schools to stop students from wearing eagle feathers and eagle plumes at high school graduations. And then 4 bills that are somewhat of a package, including the other 2 resolutions I mentioned. 2 focus solely on human trafficking prevention and awareness in providing training to schools and to hotels. And the other 2, one is law enforcement training regarding missing and murdered Indigenous people, and the other is data collection, starting a state repository that would collect data on missing people, including the Indigenous population, which includes tribal affiliation.
Wow, that was a lot in your very first year or your very first session. So what do you do when you're not in session now? You said that you have a 4-year term and you meet every other year?
Yes. Yep, North Dakota is one of 5 states, I believe, that meets every other year. So this upcoming year will be assigned to interim committees to look at some of the studies that were passed this last session. I'm also an independent consultant and will look forward to doing a lot more public health policy-focused projects. I'm also a mom. I have 4 children, and I'm a small business owner. My husband's a barber, so we own our own barber shop.
And so when you go back, have you thought about some of the legislation that you want to champion when you get back into session in 2 years?
Yes, I introduced a child care assistance bill that died quickly in committee. That would have reinstated the state median income eligibility level back up to 85%, and it was cut 2 years ago, and it's currently at 60%. And so 490 children were kicked off of child care assistance in 2016. No. So trying to dig deeper and find solutions to help our working families with child care is a priority of mine, and also looking at ways to find a livable wage. I was disappointed that our legislature passed a bill that prohibited cities from enacting higher minimum wages in each of the cities in North Dakota, or towns. Wow. And I'm also interested in looking at rural health care. I have a passion for our rural communities and would hope that we could find solutions through the community paramedic model to expand our prevention services and to also keep our ambulance services running in rural communities. So I would say healthcare, childcare, and also looking at workforce.
Wow.
Trying to find solutions. They say we have so many open positions in North Dakota, so really trying to find out what are the barriers. Is it childcare? Is it discrimination?
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot to do. I know you're working on the missing and murdered Indigenous issue in North Dakota. I'm carrying a bill to create that task force. And, really what I would love to do is to have the same model in each state as we start to gather our data. So Ruth, you are working on issues around missing and murdered Indigenous women in North Dakota, and I'm carrying a bill to create a task force to study the missing and murdered Indigenous women in Minnesota. And really and truly, what I would really love to see down the road is that we all are using the same plan, or we're gathering the same information, we're collecting it the same way, and we're recording it and looking at the same issues in each of the different states, so that we can come together and create like our national study on missing and murdered Indigenous women. Do you think that is something that we could do down the road? Do you think that's a good idea, or what are your thoughts?
It's an excellent idea. In fact, a professor from NDSU had suggested just that, even looking further within the region, the states that we are neighbors to in North Dakota, so South Dakota, Montana, Minnesota. I think that would be an excellent idea. It's definitely worth looking into, and I think it could happen because not long after I had introduced the first 2 bills, House Bill 1313 and 1311 for law enforcement training and data collection, South Dakota had reached out and had asked for copies of the bills, and then different groups were asking for copies, and so I think it's such a huge need, and so I think that would be something worthwhile if we could really do that.
Yeah, I think it would be great if we could create a template and then all the states are sort of doing the same thing so that we can compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. And so when this task force in Minnesota, it hasn't passed yet, but we're hoping that it'll happen. We'll begin collecting the information, and it's a 2-year task force. How long does your legislation that's been passed, is that like into infinity? And are there ways that you can go back and adjust it so that it's comparable to other states?
Yes, these bills have no time limit on them or time constraints, and my understanding is in future legislative sessions we have the opportunity to amend bills. For example, the House Bill 1541, that's hotel training, it started out as a stick and it's more of a carrot. To where we're offering the opportunity to hotels to receive this training. If they receive the training, they'll in turn receive a monetary incentive.
Okay.
But we want to look at it in 2 years from now, or eventually to get to a more of a penalty because we know hotels are hot spots for human trafficking, and also to add to your point and suggestion of having this legislation across the United States is very important to help keep our communities safe. And we know that a lot of our trafficking victims, they're not just confined to one state, you know, it's across the Midwest or from East Coast to West Coast. So I think it's something that we need to do.
Yeah. Are there other like hot topics or issues in Indian country that you would like to address in North Dakota?
There's a lot, and that's the thing is I felt in my first year and having our legislature meet every other year, that means that we don't have the opportunity to introduce new bills next year. So it's kind of why I felt the need to introduce so much bills at this time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like North Dakota really is ahead in some arenas, you know, but in the human rights and indigenous rights and people, in a lot of the different people-based needs within our communities, I feel that we have a lot of room to grow. And so in many ways I feel that North Dakota is playing catch-up, you know, with the rest of the country. So,
are you the only Native legislator in North Dakota?
I currently am the only Native American woman legislator in North Dakota.
Okay.
In either party, either Senate or House.
And has there been a Native woman in the legislature?
Yes, there was a lady named Dawn Charging out of Garrison, who is an enrolled member of the MHA Nation, who is a Republican.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so do you feel like with you in the legislature now, perhaps there will be a stronger awareness and concern for Indian folks and Indian country because you're there and you're obviously a bold woman and willing to speak up and step out and make sure that things are being addressed in Indian country?
Yeah, I believe by my presence in the Capitol that it's contributing to some positive change, but I don't want to be the only one there forever. I want like more people to join me, and so I've had basically a revolving door of constant nonstop visitors coming in to sit with me at my desk during House floor sessions, and it got to the point where towards the end of our session the Sergeant at Arms just left a chair behind my desk. But from all ages, you know,
that's
that
wonderful.
have been visiting, and so I really want that to continue and want people to stay engaged and to learn the process and every level of government. But it's been pretty inspiring to see the constant nonstop visitors that come in.
Oh, great. I think it's really important that we let our Indian folks know that, you know, if I did it, if you did it, they can do it too. And it's a scary place and it's an intimidating issue, but I think that certainly you are a great role model in North Dakota and people really admire you and know that, you know, they can do it too. And I'm hoping that this will open the doors and encourage the young people and even folks my age and older to start stepping up and speaking out and taking that step into into an elected position, because that's really how we're going to make that big change.
I agree.
Well, it's so fun to see you here tonight, and how lucky were we to have you at the wrestling match in Minnesota. But safe travels back to North Dakota, and happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, too.
Thank you.
Hey, that was Mary Kunesh-Podein and Miss Buffalo. Ruth Ann down there and or up there in North Dakota. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we really appreciate all the work Mary Kunesh-Podein does for our show and for the people out there, and also State Representative Buffalo out in North Dakota. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Robbins Kaplan LLP protects and defends American Indian tribes because for too long they have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan LLP seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country. Founded and led by former United States attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian law and policy practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. Their American Indian law lawyers understand the challenges tribes face when state and local government infringe on tribal sovereignty and the federal government neglects its trust responsibilities. Their passion for tribal sovereignty and self-determination is the driving force behind their practice, fueling their tribal advice and advocacy, especially when tribes are forced to litigate against powerful interests. Robbins Kaplan LLP, representing American Indian tribes, tribal government boards and commissions, individual tribal members, and American Indian business and business concerns. For more information, visit robinskaplan.com. Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. You know, this portion
of the show is brought to you by Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition and also by Midwest All-Star Wrestling.
That's right, Jack. Hey, I'm always proud and grateful that my Dega, Carson West, is on the line here, and he always has something awesome to say about the community and being Native, and we were talking a little bit about a few things, and he's got he's got a great opinion, and he does have an opinion, and I appreciate him very much. Welcome, Dega.
Thank you very much, Robert. It's good to be on your show again. Again, it's great that you guys have this forum for our community.
Haho, haga.
Hello, my brother. It's good to hear you. You know, we were discussing about the Indian Child Welfare Act, and you know the importance behind that. So, you know, it's amazing we have to even discuss things like this at this day and age in this country that's supposed to be based on freedom. You know, we have to speak about human rights. We have to speak about Indian Child Welfare Act in general. It's amazing to me that that we, the indigenous people of this hemisphere in general, we have to be concerning ourselves with that in our community. You know, that we're so forgotten that we have to concern ourselves with things like this. I mean, it's pitiful of our government to. I mean, they forget about us. That's understandable. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But when we have to talk about things like this, I mean, I'm just hurting my soul. You know, it's. I mean, you know, the Indian Child Welfare Act. I remember when it was enacted, man. In 1978, they did this thing, and it was because our children were being taken from our homes for whatever reason that we had issues, you know. But they were put in foster care. They went almost instantly to families that we never seen our children again, you know. And so, I mean, that issue had come up, and it was amazing when I looked at the statistics on it. It was 25 to 38% of our children were being removed from our homes and in our community that were never returned, and if they ever came back, they had no idea their identity whatsoever, you know. I mean, one thing I've always, you know, prided myself in, and I was very proud to understand who I am in the eyes of the Creator. I'm Ho-Chunk Indian man, you know. I'm born in the Eagle clan. My name is Chakshep Hodanka. It means little eagle, you know. I know that, you know. Mm-hmm. I know that because I have a community that was powerful enough to keep us strengthened by this understanding, you know. I mean, if it weren't for that, I don't know how I would be or where I would be right now in my world, you know. But understand that they're trying to enact legislature about removing and disintegrating this Indian Child Welfare Act. Mm-hmm. You know, I can only imagine what that will bring to our community, you know. I mean, what we fought through to get to that point where this was 30 years ago. I mean, even in this kind of time, 30 years ago, they enacted this, you know. And, I mean, I thought we were doing all right. I mean, I understand that we still have places that could be, you know, tweaked and fixed up a little bit in that what they enacted, you know, mm-hmm. because we still have kids that are getting left out and they're still getting stuck in these communities that they're not being returned to our families and stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. So the actual legislature stated that they were the Congress. There was the 95th United States Congress that enacted this, right? Mm-hmm. And they were charged with the responsibility of protection and the preservation of Native tribes, including Native children. You know, mm-hmm. I mean, they did as best they could, I guess, with what they were given to deal with. You know, and I thought we were doing all right with that in place. I thought, well, that's like written in stone. So you know, our families, our kids that are taken away for whatever reason, family might stumble a little bit. I mean, we all go through issues, you know. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize that now after it was enacted that we're going to have to deal with this again. That we're going to have to bring this to the community's knowledge again and put it out there on your radio station or in any form of media that we can get it out there, so we make people aware of this again, so that we can all stand up again against these people. You know, I mean, I don't understand why. You know, there's no other race that I can understand or that I could see that's having to deal with this kind of an issue. No other race, and I'm not trying to bring race into this because it's not. I don't believe in racism. I'm totally against it. Mm-hmm. You know, but the thing is, our kids, man, are important. You know, it is important as anybody's kids. Mm-hmm. And you know something very important to us, of course. You know, they're our kids. But I mean, you know, if it was any other race and they were having a problem, I'd stand up for them. Mm-hmm. You know, you would stand up for them because it's right. It's human. You know, it's a natural thing to do. You know, I mean, and so why is it we're having to fight with these people? I mean, to go tooth and nail again against these people that, I mean, what they can't assimilate us to the point where they erase our identities. They can't. Some of us are very strong in believing that's the only reason why we exist. You know, mm-hmm. I mean, the way I figured, if the Creator was thought highly enough of me to consider me to be a Ho-Chunk Indian man, and I'm all good with that, you know. And, mm-hmm. and you know something, if there's anybody going to stand in the way of that, well, they got to speak to the Creator, you know. Take it up with Him, you know. But in the meantime, I don't think our kids should suffer because of somebody's idea of thinking that I should be assimilated or erased, you know. My memories and my thoughts and my heart should be taken away from me, you know. So I mean, I wanted to bring this back up. We talked about it, mm-hmm. and you know, I'm very strong in this and believing onto this kind of stuff. That, you know, I mean, if you come to some place anywhere in your travels, man, if you can't make the place better for you being been there, well, then you leave it the same. And I'm talking about leave us the same, you know.
Right.
You know,
it's a form of
it's
genocide, you know, because of the land and the air and the things that we have. I mean, look we got pipelines going through native land. They're not going through white people's lakes. They're going through our rice, you know, up north's rice paddies. So it's a subtle form of genocide again.
Exactly. You know, so you know we're gonna have to stand up, and we're gonna have to draw a line. I guess you know we're gonna have to stand up and fight for our people. You know, and I mean I say we all hold hands and go at it because I mean whatever way it's gonna take, rather go by peaceable means. But you know something, we're not opposed to violence if that's what it takes. You know, and that sounds ridiculous for me to have to even say that again at this time, a space and time in this United States, allegedly United States. And is it divided states? I mean, I don't know what to say here, but I know that we're not going to sit still for this. We can't, you know. As far as these people stealing our people and putting them in these sex trafficking or murdering our women and our children, that's not going to go. And how come there's such an outcry in this country that I mean, it's in every community because we're in every community. Why isn't anybody paying attention to this? I mean, if there was any other race, they'd be at it right now with you know guns drawn if that's what's necessary. You know, you know. So we're somehow we're going to be cannon fodder. I don't believe in that, man. Because you know something, we're strong. You know, our women are strong. You know, our women make us men strong. You know, and no matter what, you know, hey, we can stand up with anybody. I'm not concerned with that part of it. I'm concerned with the fact that human beings have to be this way with each other, and so. We're going to have to draw arms, and we're going to have to, you know, put our fists up or whatever it is, you know. So, I mean, this conversation needs to be spoken, and it's not a good conversation, you know. It doesn't make me feel comfortable to have to speak to it, but somebody needs to, and we need to keep it in people's heads. We need to keep it in their hearts. So, I mean, there's so many people out here that aren't caught up in this administration up in the White Guy House. That and all races they're not caught up in that. They're true human beings, and they have hearts, and they have souls that they're concerned with. So then our issues are theirs too, you know.
Right.
So they're gonna stand with us also, you know. Well, and somebody's not figuring for that, you know.
Right. We were talking about like in the '60s, possibly before the American Indian movement. It was not cool to be Indian, and we were low key. We were talking about that earlier. Your response?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, you know something. You know, speaking of that, you know, there's equal. This stuff's been around way before the 1600s, man. We've had Indian Child Welfare Act that was necessary. It was spoken to. We couldn't put it in that legislative wording, you know. But the thing was, you know, the whole thing is, yeah, we've been trodden, and we've been burdened with more than most. You know, we walked on a road that's very difficult. Most people couldn't walk our same paths, you know. I mean, some of us didn't make that road, you know. We didn't get all the way to the other side like some did, you know. And you know, so the burden that we carry, you know, we carry in our hearts for our people that were abused and murdered back in the 1600s. You know what I'm saying? We still have broken hearts behind that, and nobody's trying to deal with that. So, you know, I mean, it would be easier for a person that's coming from that background to rise up in violence. You know, it would be so much easier. But you know, and at the same time, man, we look for peaceable means. Peaceful ways to figure this out and work together with whoever's willing to work to make this so. I mean, we're not asking for no handouts, man. I mean, we don't need much, you know.
Right.
We need room to go, and room to grow, you know, and room to have my children grow up and be okay with who they are in their skin, you know.
Right.
Everybody else got that right, you know. Why take it from me, you know?
Well, that's what's really important now is that we have a lot of politicians, and we have that whole chunk, Sharice Davis, work in the system. Before we weren't even in the game, and now we're in the game and learning the system and the ropes, and this legislation, at least not ICWA, but at least the murdered and missing Indigenous women is rampant across the country, and these bills are being passed because of our Native sisters that are in the government now.
That is so cool, man. I mean, we are so fortunate. I mean, look how the Creator's blessed us there, you know?
Yeah.
He's not leaving us, man. He's not leaving our sides, you know. Nobody's figuring for him, man. Everybody figures they're going to get through their world, and however dastardly they live, they're going to be all right when they cross it over. They're going to come to a real bad time, you know. In the meantime, can't make them understand that because they think they got it all figured out.
Hey,
but like I say, man, the Creator's blessed us. Man.
Yeah, He has certainly blessed us. Can you hang on and talk about some sacred animals for Wendy that's still out of town?
Sure, I can do that.
Peeny Gigi. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and hour 2 is right around the corner.
We are
Calusa Nation.
Robbins Kaplan LLP protects and defends American Indian tribes because for too long they have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan LLP seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country. Founded and led by former United States attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian law and policy practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. Their American Indian law lawyers understand the challenges tribes face when state and local government infringe on tribal sovereignty and the federal government neglects its trust responsibilities. Their passion for tribal sovereignty and self-determination is the driving force behind their practice, fueling their tribal advice and advocacy, especially when tribes are forced to litigate against powerful interests. Robbins Kaplan LLP, representing American Indian tribes, tribal government boards and commissions, individual tribal members, and American Indian business and business concerns. For more information, visit robinskaplan.com.
This is AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Biden rally, severe weather. I'm Ann Cates. Joe Biden is campaigning in Philadelphia today. Biden told supporters at a rally there's only one way to get the country back on track.
Folks, we need a president who's willing to lead, who will insist on dramatic change for the sake of our children. Folks, let me tell you something. The single most important thing we have to accomplish to get this done, the single most important thing we have to accomplish is defeat Donald Trump.
President Trump will hold a rally Monday in Pennsylvania, and Bernie Sanders has unveiled a plan to overhaul public education. Parts of the Midwest are being hit by heavy rains, strong winds, large hail, and flash flooding. Meteorologist Allison Chinchar says the system is slow moving.
It's not just a one-day event. You've got the threat today from Texas all the way up to Minnesota. Tomorrow it becomes more of a Great Lakes threat. And then once we get to Monday, a separate storm actually triggers a brand new threat for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and even Kansas.
Parts of Montana and North Dakota could get a dusting of snow. Today marks 1 year since a gunman opened fire in the halls of Santa Fe High School outside Houston, killing 10 people.
Hours after last year's shooting, Texas Governor Greg Abbott vowed to make Texas schools safer for students.
It's time in Texas that we take action.
Santa Fe students and parents met with lawmakers and the governor to discuss the best ways to harden schools and provide students more mental health resources. Some changes and regulations were decided on by the school districts, but gun laws lie in the hands of legislators. Some political experts believe Republicans want to avoid votes that could be viewed as anti-gun. Texas is a state with more than 1 million people licensed to carry a firearm. The legislative session ends May 27th, and advocates on both sides of the gun debate keeping a close eye on the state capital. Clayton Neville, Dallas.
I'm Ann Cates.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now?
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
Well, that's literally impossible. But there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event happening right now. And Honda is KBB.com's 2019 best value brand. Seriously.
Visit HondaCertified.com to find the Honda that's right for you. With 2.49% APR for well-qualified buyers on select models.
See dealer for financing details. Based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit KBB.com for more information.
You work hard and you play hard. And let's face it, sometimes it hurts. So stick it to the pain with the Tiger Balm Pain Relieving Patch. It's convenient to apply, and the hydrogel technology sends Tiger Balm's proven pain relief right to your aches and pains. It's soothing, safe, and long-lasting. Made from a blend of herbal ingredients, Tiger Balm is trusted pain relief for everyone. So whatever your age or lifestyle, roar back with Tiger Balm. It works where it hurts. Available at stores everywhere.
Tom Hartman here for All Energy Solar. One of the myths about solar is that you save more if you wait, but waiting to switch can actually cost you more. While tax rebates make solar affordable, those rebates are often limited and decrease over time. So when you wait, you risk losing some of the incentives that make solar so easy to afford today. And besides, the sooner you get your All Energy Solar system, the sooner you reduce or even eliminate that high electricity bill. Make the switch today at allenergysolar.com.
Hi, this is Ken Hageland, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, inviting you to listen to our new show airing on Saturdays from noon to 1, where we talk about your health and your life and provide insights to living and aging well. Each week, we provide answers to important questions regarding health care, elder care, end-of-life care, and caregiver support to help you and your loved ones plan for the future and enjoy your highest quality of life today. Please join us every Saturday from noon to 1 for Living Healthy and Aging Well.
No one beats Warner Stellian. No one. Our passion is earning your business, and we've guaranteed appliance savings for nearly 70 years. But the Warners know there's more to it than just offering the lowest price. So we've hired and we've trained the very best people to make every step of your appliance buying experience simple and fun. Now through June 3rd, Warner Stellian will save you even more with exclusive in-store specials. Go to WarnerStellian.com or come on in for full details. Choose Minnesota's own Warner Stellian.
Robbins Kaplan LLP protects and defends American Indian tribes because for too long they have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan LLP seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country. Founded and led by former United States attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian law and policy practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. Their American Indian law lawyers understand the challenges tribes face when state and local government infringe on tribal sovereignty and the federal government neglects its trust responsibilities. Their passion for tribal sovereignty and self-determination is the driving force behind their practice, fueling their tribal advice and advocacy, especially when tribes are forced to litigate against powerful interests. Robbins Kaplan LLP, representing American Indian tribes, tribal government boards and commissions, individual tribal members, and American Indian business and business concerns. For more information, visit robinskaplan.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Sam Turnberg. Today we have a chance of drizzle with a high near 50. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms with a low around 42. Tomorrow, showers with a high near 42. Monday, sunny with a high near 62. And Tuesday, cloudy with a high near 58. 80% of homes in the market need help with air sealing and insulation. Green Home Doctor will work with you to make your home less leaky and more comfortable in the summer. They can help you get energy rebates from Excel and CenterPoint, and they don't use subcontractors. Visit them at greenhomedr.com.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm your host, Wakanjahare. You know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. And welcome back to Hour 2 of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Neighborhood Cafe, good food and good friends, and also by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
We are pre-America, the descendants of the people you couldn't kill off. For each show we discuss on Native Roots Radio what is important to us. We talk about our sacred animals, native lands, and how their natural resources are in danger. We speak against pipelines that go through our native and treaty lands. We put out tobacco for our relatives that are suffering from the alcohol and drug problem. We support all language warriors that are preserving our language and way of life. We pray for our relatives that have gone through the Indian residential schools. Kill the Indian, save the man. To our missing and murdered Native women, you are not forgotten. My blood is as ancient as the earth I stand upon. I pre-exist America. This show is dedicated to those who give back and fight back for our people. We are the resistance. We are awake. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, Hour 2. We usually have, my wife Wendy's been out of town for the last 3 weeks dealing with our mother who's very sick, and my Daga here is agreed to talk on on animal issues in her place, and I really appreciate that. Uncle Carson, welcome back.
Thank you. The creator of all things that are natural, he made all of the things that aren't man-made. The animals are part of it, right? We're part of it. We're not above them. They're part of us, and we're family. We were taught by elders, and had quite a few mentors that spoke the same thing of different tribes. We're related to all things that are in the natural. Everything that Maona, the creator, made has a heartbeat. It has a soul. So then, if there's any animals that anybody, after knowing that, could get rid of, tell me how you could justify that in the first place. A good friend of mine, was an educator of mine at one time, Jerry Dearly. I know you guys know him.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that we're related to all these things that the Creator made, and if you look on your hands, you count the fingers and consider them as being part of these relatives of yours, Now figure out which one of them you don't need, That's the sacred animals. They're all sacred, Every last one of them needs to be protected. We were put here in this continent, on this hemisphere, to be protectors, to be stewards of those animals, that the Creator made, They're close relatives of ours. So when we say all my relations, we're talking about those animals too,
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about all things in the natural that Creator made, So, there's not, like to understand that there's people up there that are trying to pass bills, or they're trying to set up a hunting time to kill off the wolves,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that. It'd be like taking your cousin or your uncle or your brother and shooting him, because that's the relation we have with them. We're all part of a circle, a circle of life that these are all part of, and every last one of them is so important to us, to our existence, and we are to theirs. That how can anybody miss that concept? How can you mistake that understanding and just throw it away and just go ahead and start killing your relatives?
Mm-hmm.
That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense to anybody. Even if you're one of those that are thinking, yeah, we should go ahead and kill wolves,
Mm-hmm.
It sounds ridiculous to me. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It is ridiculous, and it's ridiculous that the politicians are bought off and are ready to do whatever the NRA or all these or right-wing organizations want, to sell more bullets and more lead bullets. We have our eagles eating a little bit of lead. We were told, like, if they eat the size of a penny Lincoln's nose, they will get sick and die of any kind of lead.
Yeah. I thought Minnesota passed legislature that years ago about no lead in any of the projectiles that they shoot.
No.
It's a hunting state. It's a hunting state. That's a given,
Mm-hmm.
And some, when it comes to the more encroachment of people into the wildlife's land, naturally you're going to have more to do with each other, and you're going to be getting in each other's way, if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're going to want to knock down the population of the deer. Okay, so you have a certain amount that is, you can call these, right? Because they go to the table to eat anyway, right? This mentality, right?
Right.
But see, if you stay out of their territory, they're not going to be encroaching in your driveway.
Right.
They're not going to be on your highway.
Well, you're not going to eat an eagle, or you're not going to eat a wolf. That's
right.
the ridiculousness of that too.
Right. And you guys got it on your advertisement, man. And those are the original. Those guys are. They are the they take care of the whole thing. Well, what they do, their job, what they take because of attrition or whatever, what they take, it makes everything balance out.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, that was the whole concept of Native American people, man, was to balance this, man. We're just part of a balance. We're harmonious with the land and with the animals that balances us.
Mm-hmm.
We stay in that circle, that sacred circle that the Creator put us in. Then we're in harmony with ourselves. We're in balance with ourselves. We have no form of violence. We have no form of alcoholism, no drug addiction. But it's all about balancing us, man. Every last one of our relatives, from the sky to the rocks to the grass to the water to the eagles,
mm-hmm.
we need every last one of them to be balanced, and vice versa. Need us too.
Hey, David, could you talk about? I was gifted some Red Hawk tail feathers. Could you speak on that?
Well, they said, they were saying that the red-tailed hawk, it represents the thunder beings in our people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this red-tailed hawk, it brings medicine, medicinal value to humans, to us people, that medicines that we need to. We get sick, you know. If you get whatever kind of maladies that we were facing back in our originality, you know. These beings brought that medicine to us, or they brought us to the information to go ahead and collect it, you know. Either way, but that comes from the red-tailed hawk, you know. And that's a representative of the thunder being, thunder clan. Okay, so very powerful medicine, man. You know, they I mean, if you have any parts of the red-tailed hawk, it's like eagle. I mean, that's good, strong medicine for you, man. You carry it in your medicine box, or, you know, if you make a peyote fan or any kind of fan that you use during your ceremonials, that's, I mean, the spirit world recognizes these things, and they understand their duty when they're in their presence, you know. So very, very powerful, the red-tailed hawk, you know. Again, all the animals that the Creator made, they have gifts that, just like people, we're all given gifts for spirituality, you know, for the spiritual part of it. So they bring more than just this physical thing. They bring the spiritual part too that makes us completely in balance. The whole thing balances itself. Necessary, you know. So, I mean, if you hear anybody talking any different, you can go ahead and inform them, whether they understand you or take it as a grain of salt or just, it doesn't matter, because the reality is still, you can be in it and not of it, but it's still happening, you know, and that's the whole point, man. As long as we understand, eventually they'll figure it out, you know, and they're going to come to us when it comes crashing down on them, because the only place they're going to go where there's going to be safety is where the chiefs are at. Right. Guarantee it. Well, you know, creators right there.
I tell my students they need to get ready, because this government's going to fall someday, and we're going to get our land back, and they aren't ready right now. And we talk about the language and things that we need to really get back and talk about. And, you know, this government's only been around 200 years. We've been around 10,000 years.
Yeah, you know, the Ho-Chunks have a thing that they talk about. When they put this back together, then we're going to be back. Okay, now they talk about the 7th generation. That was 7 generations ago. They prayed for us in this time, right? The Ho-Chunks have a part that they speak about. There's a staff that was like a kind of like the Aztec calendar. It tells about many years to come and stuff, right? Well, this staff that the Ho-Chunks had, that's the same thing. It's a calendar, you know. But they said, the way they said it, when they say it in Ho-Chunk, it translates like this: the White Shepherd staff. So whatever that means to your heart or to your mind, you can think about it or delve into it. But when we get that staff back, everything is going to go back to where, in naturality, man. You know, I'm looking for it, man. I really am, you know, because the Creator was the one that put this in people's hearts and their minds, and so they spoke to it. So then I'm going to have to believe in that, because I believe in what the Creator said, you know. It's all good. It's all good. But see, we're going to all benefit for it. The whole world is going to benefit for it. It's about peace, you know. It's about contentment. It's about being okay in your part of the world, your little part, whatever it is, you know. So not encroaching in somebody else's business, in other words. So
we're all indigenous in our own lands, and we've all been colonized one way or another. It seems like Native Americans were the last to be colonized. Even the white people were colonized by the European kings and such. So we pray for them too.
Absolutely. I pray for my brothers. I pray for my sisters. I pray for my enemies. You know, I mean, and I'm not saying white people are my enemies, so don't get me wrong, man. I was taught right. I was taught to pray for my enemies. I was even taught to pray for the government, man. You know, so even if the government is my enemy, you know, I'll pray for them too. You know, so it's all good. It's all for the Creator. You know.
Well, Dega, I really appreciate you pinch hitting today for Wendy. Wendy should be back next week. I'm picking her up tonight. And have a great day, and Peeny Gigi for all you do for us.
Man, it's no problem, man. I'm glad you guys do what you do. Keep doing it, man.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're going to be back with Ian Small of Seekjoy. We'll be right back.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The Neighborhood Cafe is a locally owned and operated business and proud sponsor of I'm Awake. Enjoy a great happy hour Tuesday through Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. with specials on food and drinks. The Neighborhood Cafe serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all made from scratch daily. Located next to O'Gara's in St. Paul off Snelling and Selby, stop in and try one of their specialty sandwiches or delicious burgers paired with a local craft beer. More at theneighborhoodcafe.com.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Native-owned Meg Mechanical is your local heating, ventilation, and air conditioning professional. Meg has the experience needed to diagnose and repair your heating and air conditioning systems. Whether repair or complete mechanical design, we do it all. No job is too big or too small. Meg Mechanical has completed projects as large as U.S. Bank Stadium and will provide the same great service in your home. Visit magmechanical.com or call 612-655-5339. Please remember Mag Mechanical when you have HVAC needs. Mention this ad to receive 1 hour of free service.
The Downtowner Woodfire Grill in St. Paul is the perfect choice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Offering daily fresh seafood specials, fire-roasted meats, exquisite pizza, and half-price bottles of wine on Mondays and Tuesdays, except on Xcel Energy event nights. Once you experience their cozy fireside dining, extensive wine list, and bar, you'll be back for more. Gift certificates and private dining room for parties available. Located at 253 West 7th Street with plenty of free parking or online at downtownerwoodfire.com.
When we go out to browse for books and grab something to eat, Moon Palace Books is where we go.
This unique bookstore is located at 3032 Minnehaha Avenue in Minneapolis, just minutes from St. Paul.
A great place to find one-of-a-kind books, cards, and great gifts.
Geek Glove Cafe at Moon Palace Books has cold-pressed coffee, pizza, salads.
Local, organic, fair trade, vegan, carnivore options.
Beer and wine.
Community performance room.
Great parking.
What are we waiting for? Let's go to
Moon Palace Books, 3032 Minnehaha Avenue, Minneapolis.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, I'm Wakanja Hade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Moon Palace Books, 3032 Minnehaha Avenue, Minneapolis, and also by Jay Selby's voted vegan best restaurant in 2018.
In the world, I thought.
In the world, I was going to say too. Worldwide.
Hey, I'm really happy to. I just ran into Ian Small, and it was an amazing conversation. And he's in town, or back in town, I should say. And he runs a little company called Seekjoy. But also, what's very interesting, if you're driving around any kind of action, you'll see Winona LaDuke's big old painted. Honor the Earth truck, a beautiful thing, and then in the background you'll see Stop Line 3, and that's Ian Small, and we really appreciate you being on air. Welcome.
Thank you, Robert.
Hey,
I'm honored to be here.
I appreciate you being on. There's a couple things I want to talk to you about. We got a couple sections here with you. The first thing I want to really touch base with you about is tell everybody where you've been staying until you came back to the Twin Cities just recently.
Absolutely. I spent the last winter up on the White Earth Reservation. So I was near Camp Turtle Island, Mackinac, Nice, and at a place called Pure Bliss Ranch. So we spent the winter up there, tucked in the North Woods, Minnesota.
And I know we've talked, and I know you don't want to talk out of turn or anything, but there's things going up there that I think it's important that the people in the Twin Cities and the 5-state area that listen to our show know what's going on up there, and in regards to Line 3.
Absolutely, and I had thought originally. So I just maybe taking a step back. I'm very involved with this effort to stop the Line 3 tar sands oil pipeline. I am currently living in my converted school bus. It's a 40-year-old Chevy Bluebird schoolie, as they call it. And if you see it anywhere, you'll very clearly see the Stop Line 3 hashtag. And we've been basically gathering signatures on the back of this bus that outline the words Line 3 and a big circle around it with a line through it, which is now almost full in there. And so we were up on White Earth for the winter. And honestly, at that time, I'd been kind of imagining that we might see construction begin on the Line 3 project. And many of us on the grassroots side of this are kind of, exploring what this resistance is going to look like on the ground if process fails the people of Minnesota, and we have to put our own bodies on the line to try to prevent construction of this pipeline across the river here. A couple interesting things. I mean, I had thought that we might see more activity near White Earth and north of there on Line 3, but it seems like where we are right now, it is more close to Fond du Lac that we are going to see construction begin. And I asked a colleague if it was okay for me to bring this up on the show, but there's a gentleman, concerned citizen, Jesse Peterson, up in the Duluth-Cloquet area, who, amongst many, are very closely kind of watching pre-construction activities that are taking place. For anybody that is just new to this fight, I mean, we are still in the legal process of Line 3, and technically Enbridge, as the corporation, does not have permission to begin construction in Minnesota, but there are pipes stored across the entire state. There are pipe yards just full of these massive sections of Line 3 pipe, and they're getting loaded off of trains onto trucks, like literally as we speak right now. And so, Jesse Peterson was up there, yesterday, just following one of these trucks. It was a truck with a license plate out of Texas, which is interesting because most of this time we have had Enbridge state that they're going to be using local labor. And so, this out-of-state truck loaded with pipe from a train yard was barreling at, he clocked them at 72 miles an hour down the county roads up there, which have a speed limit of 55. So you have this, massive oversized load traveling at 70 miles an hour through these small towns. So we right now are very much seeing pre-construction happening on Line 3. It seems that within the agencies responsible for pipeline construction, DNR, and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and the PUC all have almost different definitions of what it means to do pre-construction. So it's kind of one of these things, we can't necessarily stop them at this point, but they are offloading pipe. They are staging these pipes in pipe yards. They are clear-cutting areas of the pipeline route, in advance of doing their construction.
So are these hidden, or are they out just piling these pipes up out in front of everybody?
I mean, they're kind of hidden. During the winter, we were able to participate in an indigenous-led action up at Omar's gravel pit, which is outside of Cloquet. And, where we just kind of showed up to expose one of these basically non-permitted storage yards. So most of these storage yards are kind of hidden to an extent. They're off the beaten track, and most of them are on private property at this point. So it's not, they're not hard to find, but yeah, I don't know. They are kind of tucked away in places that are out of sight for the average probably person in Minnesota.
But then you see them barreling down the road, going really fast with a whole bunch of them with Texas plates. So then they're not that hidden too. Right. And I think certainly up in the Cloquet area, they're, they have even local law enforcement, kind of allowing these trucks and like stopping traffic so that these trucks can kind of pull out of their offloading sites without needing to stop all the way, when they get to these highways. What's the best way for us to keep track of what's going on up there? Do you have a website, or how are you keeping people informed?
So yeah, we have a website. I mean, our project's called Seekjoy, and our mission statement, I guess, overall is that we're calling for radical social change, and we pledge to catalyze immediate efforts towards the long-term sustainable cohabitation of all people, nations, and cultures. For the past several years, we've been very focused on some of these pipeline issues. We spent about 6 months at Standing Rock, and we've kind of found, I guess, most of our focus is on trying to help amplify the stories of frontline activists, of grassroots activists, and specifically inside the indigenous-led resistance to these projects. So most of the time we are actually trying to encourage people to follow some of these other efforts. Honor the Earth, we obviously heard from and hear from frequently from Winona. Honor the Earth is doing a great job. They have also, stopline3.org is a great place for resources. I've found that the Minnesota 350 chapter is doing an exceptional job of keeping up with all this stuff. I'd encourage everybody to follow their work. They have a pledge of resistance, and that seems to be a great way to probably stay up to date on just all of the small actions. Like yesterday, the comment period for the DNR permit process just came to a close, and it's these types of things that are, we definitely need the public to get involved with.
All right, Ian, we're going to come back and talk more about what's going on today and more about Seekjoy. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
J. Selby's, an airy plant-based cafe serving up American classics, nestled in the heart of St. Paul in the historic Cathedral Hill neighborhood at 169 Victoria Street. J. Selby's serves great plant-based food and only plant-based foods where customer service is a priority, great food a tradition, and a comfortable, cool space for like-minded people to gather and enjoy a sustainable, environmentally friendly, and compassionate meal. As the Star Tribune writes, J. Selby's is an innovative vegan restaurant that does a spot-on Big Mac. It's a good day for good food.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters. And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
MN350 is a grassroots, volunteer-driven organization fighting for climate justice and a swift transition away from a fossil fuel-based economy. To get involved, visit mn350.org or find us on Facebook at MN350. Building a climate movement in Minnesota.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, wherever you are and however you like it. We're just the place you're looking for. 6 unique, fun, exciting, winning destinations located throughout central Wisconsin. Make your rounds to Wittenberg, Nakusa, Black River Falls, Toma, Madison, or Wisconsin Dells for the hottest slots, most exciting games, award-winning guest service, delicious food and spirits, lodging, and live entertainment. Join the Ho-Chunk Gaming Rewards Club for free. And with a single card, you can earn valuable points no matter which of the 6 locations you choose to play. That means more exclusive offers, giveaways, cash back, discounts, and much more. Visit us online to see all we have to offer and find the fun times nearest you at HoChunkGaming.com. So wherever you are and however you like it, we're just the place you're looking for. Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, Wittenberg, Nakusa, Black River Falls, Toma, Madison, and Wisconsin Dells.
Experience the difference. Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin.
Must be 21 or over to play.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Sam Turnberg. Today we have a chance of drizzle with a high near 50. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms with a low around 42. Tomorrow, showers with a high near 42. Monday, sunny with a high near 62. And Tuesday, cloudy with a high near 58. The Eat Local Minnesota Restaurant of the Week is the Great Wall. The Great Wall has been providing a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, stop by their Edina location or call for takeout. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, I'm Awakanjahare.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Meg Mechanical, providing professional, on-time, on-budget HVAC services.
I'm going to be needing to call those guys soon. I know. I got an old air conditioner. I like to be cool.
Better call.
I will. Hey, again, we just had a really great segment with Eoin Small and talking about a lot of things. Welcome back, Eoin, and tell us where you're at today.
Yeah, so today we are participating in Art Whirl over in Northeast Minneapolis. So we are currently parked at 1500 Northeast, Marshall Street Northeast, across from Fletcher's Ice Cream. And we're just raising awareness out here. People have been walking by, stopping. We are continuing to gather signatures. It's actually a project that we started last year at Art Whirl. And so it's been cool now. I think at that point there were maybe 5-10 signatures on this thing. And now the back of the bus is, it's packed with signatures. So we're kind of just filling in some of the remaining black space. So certainly, feel free to stop on by. For the most part, we're just having conversations. Still at this point, few people know that Line 3 is something that's going to be happening here. And, we're right kind of on the banks of the Mississippi River. And so people walk by and say, hey, you want to send the bus? We're, trying to stop a tar sands oil pipeline from being built across the Mississippi. And they're like, what?
Right.
They're trying to build a pipeline across this river? Yeah. So.
Well, right. If you look at the commercials and how Enbridge has tried to really, assimilate in high school tournaments. They play in the commercials during the hockey tournament, the basketball tournament. It just blows my mind. And all the money, I think it was they spent the most money in Minnesota, $11 million on working with the legislator and all that, and ads and everything, and just unbelievable amount for this. And the resistance. You said you were in Standing Rock, and a lot of people were in Standing Rock were from the Twin Cities in Minnesota. So I don't know. They need to think twice before going that, because it's a lot quicker drive for me than it would be to drive to Standing Rock.
Right, and I think this is one of the really important things. I was raised, and I'm from the Twin Cities, and I think it's part of the work I'm doing right now is just trying to unite the Twin Cities in support of what might become this on-the-ground resistance in our North Woods. Standing Rock took place for hashtag Standing Rock. The Etchetti-Chicoine camp was set up right next to the Missouri River, and most of that battle, let's call it, happened right in a very small section. A couple miles worth of pipe just where it was going under that river, and we have 330 miles of this pipeline being proposed across our state. So, having the Twin Cities just on the same page, throwing in $5, having some, donations ready to give. Typically, these projects, they like to construct during the winter because the machinery is more able to cross all these wetland areas. It's also a much harder environment for people that are up on the front line to try to organize when it's 40 below zero.
Right.
But I think it's going to be really important that the Twin Cities become a hub and just be ready to support our Indigenous brothers and sisters up north and all the allies that will hopefully come in to try to prevent this from happening.
Well, there will be, and we just off subject, we supported a new Hennepin County Sheriff, Native Roots Radio MN 350, and Hennepin County voters. Because that he did pledge that he would not send people to not only beat up Indians but beat up people that are for a multi-million-dollar foreign company. He said there's too many things to be done here in Hennepin County that he's going to be going up there. And another good news I heard, and I was kind of surprised to hear this, and pleasantly surprised, is that Fletcher, Ramsey County Sheriff Fletcher said he's not. If the governor's not going to send anybody up there, why the heck would I?
Right.
So that's good news there.
It's good news there, and I hope that these representatives hold to their word. We, through the PUC process with Line 3, basically Enbridge will be covering the tab for any of Minnesota's law enforcement expenses.
Well, as you know, in Standing Rock, there was sheriffs from Denver that were there.
Right.
I mean, there are sheriffs from all over the country, not just the Twin Cities, but at least our Twin City sheriffs aren't going to send 50, 60 people up there to beat up Indians and water protectors.
Yes. And this is jumping back into kind of the previous section, but there was one other source of information that I had to throw on here. Scott Russell with healingmnstories.wordpress.com has been a great resource on, I mean, just about every time there is a procedural step, he's on it and reporting on it. And I just wanted to make sure I got that on here for anybody listening.
Wow, I'd like to get that link for my Facebook, Native Roots Radio Facebook.
I will make sure to send it.
Yeah, that sounds very important. It's hard not to talk pipelines and stuff, but I really appreciate what you're doing now, and just having your big billboard bus out there and saying No Line 3 is a beautiful thing. I didn't even know you were in town, and I was driving down Lake Street, and I saw it parked in front of MN 350's office, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I got to sign your bus, too.
Yeah, and we got Bill McKibben to sign the bus. You know, it was a good day.
Right. If people don't know who that is, that's the founder of 350.org.
Certainly, and if you see this bus, like I use this bus in the resistance of the fossil fuel industry, amongst other things, and we run everything on the inside via solar. So we've got solar on the roof. It is much of these fights are about stopping something, but it's also kind of showing a new way. I do a lot of media work, and anything you've seen Seekjoy put up online or that I've posted, the video, all of our camera batteries, all of this runs off of solar power, which is a very kind of like tangible, maybe, part of this fight is like proving that there are alternatives here, and solar being one of them.
I know I got a tour, and that's really exciting. I need to get solar panels on my garage. That's the next step for me to fight this battle, and you're doing it. I mean, your coffee. Everything's solar. Yep. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, talk a little bit more about where you're at right now, so people are listening could stop by and sign the bus. Sign the bus.
Yeah. So, like I said, 1500 Marshall Street Northeast. So we're right on kind of the edge of the Art of World Northeast Arts District, but we're on the riverside, and much of our work is on behalf of this river. So we are here across from Fletcher's Ice Cream. If you are out at Art of World, just stop on by. Fletcher's, I think, has some good ice cream, and I guess they're doing I think it's like you buy one, get one half off if you've purchased art at Art of World from like one of the vendors, and so it's a good place to stop by. Yeah, I think we'll be here for the duration of Art of World. This evening, we're probably going to pack up a little bit early, around 5 o'clock. There's an event called Voices of Resistance over at the Min 350 headquarters on Lake Street. It is a fundraiser for two very committed water protectors from up north, Jim Northrup and then Tasha Martineau, and they both are doing exceptional work. If you haven't followed them or don't know of them, I encourage you to look them up, but they're having a $10 all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner over at Min 350. It is Misty Babineau, I believe, that is bringing a vegan spaghetti sauce, and so that should be great. So I think, are going to try to make it over there to make sure that we can show support for that.
And I think that starts at 5 because my uncle here had that in one of his events. So that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah. And
perfect. Well, maybe we could, if we don't see you over here at Art of World, maybe we can see you all over there.
Right. And I need some spaghetti, and vegan spaghetti is even the best.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised Mitzi's getting vegan spaghetti and not a big old meatball in there.
Good for her.
That's good.
Right?
Yes. So back again. Talk a little bit about Seekjoy. Talk a little bit about that. I know you have a lot of you have swag out there. You have tell us about what that is.
Right. I mean, it's honestly an evolving project. So we are technically a limited liability company, but most of our work is trying to figure out how to kind of continue the type of work we're doing in a good way. And so, I mean, we have a couple like small, initiatives. One being Stop Line 3. It's part of kind of our overall Still Fire initiative, which is support your local fossil fuel industry resistance effort. That's kind of the blanket. Most of our work is trying to communicate and broaden the scope of people involved with these issues. When you're in Minnesota, as a Minnesotan, it's like, hey, should we build a pipeline across the river, like Mississippi River? And most people are like, no. Should we put an indefinite tailings pond and sulfide mine near the Banju waters? It's like, no. But how do we actually broaden this to get people involved in stopping these things? So the Seekjoy project, it's been around for a little while, but I think most of it came to be what it is now through working inside the Kunesh-Podein camp in Standing Rock, and that's I think where I personally, as a white fella, as an ally, had to really shut my mouth and listen and shut up and realize that most of what I had come to understand growing up in the Twin Cities and about business and about this, that, and the other thing, like I had to forget all that, and I had to invert my understanding of just about everything, because at the root of all of these problems that we are facing with the environment, it all comes back to how we're treating each other like as humans and what we're doing with the earth. So now Seekjoy is kind of an open door to that conversation, I'd say. And we have a couple small things, that we sell, I guess, as a way to offset the cost of the work we're doing. We make these little patches that are, they say Seekjoy on them, which is, the project name, kind of the root, finding joy in all this. And we do the embroidery and sewing using our solar setup. So it's all off-grid via solar, and then they're embroidered onto denim fabric that comes from jeans that were basically landfill destined. So you get that hole in your jeans, you can't donate it. What do you do with it? As Americans, we, I think, destroy about 15 million tons of apparel fabric discarded into the landfill every year. So, what do? We grab these, we take these jeans that can't be donated and we cut them up and seam rip them all, and then we do the embroidery on there. And the idea kind of is that in representing that Seekjoy logo, you are adopting this mission statement, as we call it, that you're calling for this radical social change that we need. And you're pledging to basically help immediate efforts towards that end.
Well, thank you so much, Ian Small, for being on. And Seekjoy, I'm glad you mentioned the solar thing because that was really a mind blower to me when I went in there. Everything was solar, and you're walking the walk, and you're supporting, and you're also getting out important information, because when we know people are informed, they mostly do the right thing. So I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you soon. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back with What Does My Elder Think?
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
When we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Robbins Kaplan LLP protects and defends American Indian tribes because for too long they have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan LLP seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country. Founded and led by former United States attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian law and policy practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. Their American Indian law lawyers understand the challenges tribes face when state and local government infringe on tribal sovereignty and the federal government neglects its trust responsibilities. Their passion for tribal sovereignty and self-determination is the driving force behind their practice, fueling their tribal advice and advocacy, especially when tribes are forced to litigate against powerful interests. Robbins Kaplan LLP, representing American Indian tribes, tribal government boards and commissions, individual tribal members, and American Indian business and business concerns. For more information, visit robinskaplan.com. Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Present I'm Awake. I'm Robert Pilot.
This portion is brought to you by Ho-Chunk Nation, the people of the sacred voice.
All right, hey.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Hey, I want to introduce you, my groovy uncle who supports our show and has been on every show since the very beginning of 3 years. We fooled him into coming on the first show. He did a prayer for the first show, and he said, "Oh, by the way, all our guests bailed, and you're our guest." And he's been here ever since.
I'm not going nowhere.
Welcome, Choka. Tell us your name and what does my elder think?
My name is Mashke Hanazinga. I walk on the white clouds, and my colonized name is Curtis West, and you can call me Choka if you want, anyhow. But I want to say hi to baby girl Kim. I love you. And I want to say ha-ho and hello to my Chujunk Wendy. Safe travels coming back from New York.
Mm-hmm.
And can't wait to see you. And like I said, we want to say ha-ho and to all our family, relatives, and friends in 4 directions. You know, like all the way from us at Native Roots Radio, we always say we pray all is well. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say it again. So my Tushke gives me a little segment here, so I'm going to try to hurry up because I got a whole bunch to tell you about today. So he gives me shout-outs, some events, some birthdays. So I'm going to start off with the birthdays, okay, right off the get. And I want to say an early happy birthday to my Chushke Robert Pilot.
Hey.
And he's got a thing going on for his birthday. His birthday wish this year is a Facebook fundraiser in honor of Robert Pilot for his birthday. And he's trying to make some funds up for a good cause. It's for the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. And we got 9 more days before Chushke's birthday, so, you know, that the cause is great. You know, the women are our backbone, so, you know, I just wanted to mention that so much on that one.
And I want to thank all the people that have already donated. We're up to like almost $1,500, so.
Good cause, good cause.
Keep it coming.
Keep it coming. We appreciate you. And another one I want to give a happy birthday shout-out to is a good friend of mine up at Bunny's Bar and Grill. He's the owner up there. His name's Gary Rackner, so happy birthday. He's been listening to us for a while. And then I got a little Chushke. His name's Tyler Glenn. His birthday's coming up real soon, so we're going to say happy birthday, Tyler.
Oh.
And a relative of ours, Annie Fierro, you know, we're going to say happy birthday to her, you know. And we got this listener all the way up from up there in Lakota country. Her name is Crystal Del Rey, so we're going to say happy birthday to you, Crystal. And we got to say a happy birthday to this elder. I don't know his name. I couldn't get his name, but I knew he's 146 years old. He's an elder Apache. He was born in 1873, believe that. And
no cell phones back then.
No cell phones, just smoke signals on that one. But And anyway, so that's the elder one. And I'm going to get over back to these elder birthdays because, like I said, somebody's older, about 5 minutes older, and so they're my elder. So I want to say happy birthday to my Choka Willie Cleveland. He's coming up. Another one over there in God's country is Marlon Whitewing. And Orville Tipton Jr., we're going to say happy birthday. And I got a dago over there that I didn't know that you were an elder. I always thought you were a young guy. Roy Greengrass, his birthday's coming up. And
He must have just turned 60.
yeah, I got a feeling he's in good shape, man. He was up at an area meeting with us not long ago. But anyway, another one over there, Elder. I'm going to say happy birthday to Gloria White Thunder. So I want to do it like that. So we're going to do some shout-outs now, and these are real important shout-outs because it's heartfelt from us here at Native Roots Radio. So we want to give a shout-out to Midwest All-Star Wrestling, the MAW crew.
Oh.
And Dave and Eli, we love you a whole bunch. And we want to say a good shout-out to the future world champion, Austin Arrow.
Yes.
And another one I want to give thank you to is the Women of Nations and the Eagle Nest Shelter for putting on a great, with MAW, that great event over there at Sibley High School, man. We say Peenagigan. You are some really beautiful and nice ladies. I got to meet not all of you, but I met a few, and it was really a great experience over there.
Yeah, it was definitely.
And then we got to say a shout out too again is to my I'm biased and I'm partial. I got to give a shout out to I'm really proud of my grandchildren, and they're all doing great in sports and school, so I'm proud of them. So I wanted to make sure, and Choka loves you guys. And another one is a good friend of ours here at Native Roots Radio is Shirley Wolf and her husband Joe. But I got a gift for you from Native Roots Radio, Shirley, and I got your address, so we're gonna send it out from Native Roots Radio. And there's another one, a shout out to a new listener from the east side of St. Paul, and she's listening. So shout out to Jenny Reeves, and thank you for joining us here at Native Roots. And then the other shout outs I want to do out, and I want to give congrats to all the Native student and graduates. We're gonna be partial because St. Paul and Minneapolis students, but we're gonna do a shout out to all you. We're proud of you from nationwide. That keep up the good work. Okay.
It's one of the best forms of fighting back is education and being part of the system and being able to fight back as the representatives have showed us. So that is a great heartfelt congratulations.
And we know that knowledge is king, and you're all in on that one. Okay, then we got some events coming up today. 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's the annual South of the River Powwow. That's at Burnsville High School, 600 South Highway 13, and in Burnsville. It's in honor of graduated Native students, and they said they're going to have 2 grand entries. One is at 1 today, so that's a little bit gone, but the next one is at 7 p.m. That's at Burnsville High School. Mm-hmm. And today at 5 p.m., like our brother that we had on the show a little earlier, that Voices of Resistance for MN350, and they're going to have Ojibwe and Lakota voices, from Fond du Lac. And then, like he was saying, it's going to be a $10 all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner. And I guess our sister Misty's gonna bring some vegan salsa with her, so I'm down.
I think it's always vegan until you add the meat.
Yeah, the meatballs are always a plus. And then today, the Two Rivers Powwow, it's at the Handcuff Family Center in Elk River, and that's at the 1170 Main Street in Elk River.
What's the name of that family?
It's called the Handkey Family Center. So
I thought you said handcuff.
Handcuffed you. But anyway, that started at 11 o'clock and it goes to 6:30, and the host drum is Redbone, and it's going to be an awesome get-together. And also today, we're planning on going that way. It's a second annual Chaska Powwow, and that's today and tomorrow, 18th and 19th, and that's at the Chaska Middle School, West Highway 41 and Engler Boulevard. Everyone welcome. Grand entry Saturday 1 and 7, Sunday at 1 p.m. Free.
Big dancer. Misko is the head dancer, a Harding student, Misko Chapman, Harding senior, who's got a full ride to Augsburg.
Awesome, man. Congratulations, my young brother, man. And
sister.
Sister, I was talking to you, my brother.
Oh, right
you were a big deal in that life for her. And they said it's free and there's plenty of parking. And there's another one we want to do, and we're going to bring this one up too because it's real important. It's every Thursday, a powwow, drum, and dance at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, 7 to 8:30.
So what else you got? You have a daga?
Yeah,
gaga,
I got me some native wisdom. I got me some native wisdom I picked up from this guy. He said we must have respect and understanding for women and all females' lives on this earth. which bears the sacred gift of life.
Oh, wow, perfect. I would like to end with these thoughts from Chief Plenty Coops. The ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, or run for office. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. I've been your host, Robert Pilot. I would like to thank Winona LaDuke, Mary Kunesh-Podein, Representative Ruth Buffalo, Eoin Small, Curtis West, Carson West, and Robert Pilot. We are the seventh generation.
Ha-ho, Dave Hutch, we are awake.
Robbins Kaplan LLP protects and defends American Indian tribes because for too long they have faced a competitive disadvantage when litigating against powerful forces. With its American Indian law and policy practice, Robbins Kaplan LLP seeks to redefine excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country. Founded and led by former United States attorneys Brendan Johnson and Tim Purdon, their American Indian law and policy practice exists to bring justice to tribal clients whose claims in the past have been dismissed or ignored due to their underdog status. Their American Indian law lawyers understand the challenges tribes face when state and local government infringe on tribal sovereignty and the federal government neglects its trust responsibilities. Their passion for tribal sovereignty and self-determination is the driving force behind their practice, fueling their tribal advice and advocacy, especially when tribes are forced to litigate against powerful interests. Robbins Kaplan LLP, representing American Indian tribes, tribal government boards and commissions, individual tribal members, and American Indian business and business concerns. For more information, visit robinskaplan.com.